There's something that happens in the middle of the night that most people over 70 have learned to accept without question. The bedroom goes dark. The house goes quiet. And then, somewhere between 2 and 3 in the morning, the body sends a signal that pulls you out of sleep. Again. You push back the covers. You move slowly through the darkness toward the bathroom. You do what you need to do. And then you go back to bed and tell yourself the same thing you've been telling yourself for years. This is just what happens when you get older. This is just the way things are now. But what if that explanation, the one that feels so reasonable, the one your doctor may have never seriously questioned, what if it's been leaving something important unexamined all along? Because here's what I've spent years watching happen in people over 70. The ones who wake up 2, 3, 4 times a night and call it aging, some of them are right, but a significant number of them are missing something. Something their body has been trying to communicate in the only quiet language it has left in the middle of the night. And by the time they understand what the message was, months or years have passed. Energy has faded. Balance has shifted. The body has changed in ways that didn't need to happen as fast as they did. If this is happening to you right now, if the bathroom has become a nightly destination you didn't choose, I want you to stay with me. Because what I'm going to share with you today changed how I understand aging, sleep, and the signals the body sends when something beneath the surface is starting to shift. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, do that now. What we talk about here, the kind of honest, clear conversation about what's really happening inside your body after 70, this is exactly what you'll find every week. Now, let's start with something important. Close your eyes for just a moment and think about what happens to your legs during the day. If you sit for long periods, at the kitchen table, in a chair, watching television, gravity is working on the fluids in your body continuously. Slowly, quietly, liquid begins to pool, not dramatically, not painfully most of the time, but steadily over hours. Fluid accumulates in the tissue of your lower legs. You might notice your ankles feeling a little fuller by evening. Your socks might leave a faint mark. Your shoes might feel slightly tighter than they did in the morning. You probably don't think much about it. Most people don't. But here's what almost no one explains. And this is the part that changes everything. When you lie down at night, that fluid doesn't stay in your legs. It moves. Gravity releases its grip, and the liquid that spent the entire day slowly settling into your lower body begins to redistribute. It enters your circulation. It travels. And it arrives at your kidneys, which suddenly have more volume to process than they had all afternoon. So your kidneys do exactly what kidneys are supposed to do. They filter. They produce urine. And at 2 in the morning, your bladder fills, not necessarily because you drank too much water before bed, and not necessarily because your bladder is weak, but because a process that began at 9 in the morning, while you were sitting quietly in your kitchen, has finally completed its cycle in the silence of the night. This is what I call the midnight drain cycle. And understanding it, really understanding it, changes the entire conversation about what it means to wake up repeatedly through the night after 70. The bladder, in many of these cases, is not the problem. The bladder is the messenger, and when we treat only the messenger without asking what message is being sent, we miss something that matters enormously for long-term health. There's one more layer to this that I want you to understand before we go further. In younger bodies, the brain produces a hormone during sleep called vasopressin, also known as the antidiuretic hormone, that tells the kidneys to slow down urine production through the night. It's one of the body's most elegant systems. Sleep deeply, produce less urine, stay asleep longer, recover more fully. But as we age, something changes in this system. The brain produces less of this hormone during the night hours. The signal weakens. The kidneys don't receive the same clear instruction to slow down, and so they continue working at a pace the body once reserved for waking hours. This means that for many people over 70, the nighttime bathroom trips aren't a failure of the bladder. They're the result of a hormonal conversation that has grown quieter over the years, and nobody told you it was happening. Now I want to be honest with you, because I think you deserve honesty more than comfort. The midnight drain cycle, this fluid redistribution, this hormonal shift, explains a portion of what's happening in people who wake frequently at night, but it doesn't explain everything. And this is the part of the conversation that most people never reach. Because in some cases, the body that is sending you to the bathroom 3 times a night is doing something more serious than managing fluid and hormones. In some cases, it is compensating. and what it's compensating for changes everything about how seriously this symptom deserves to be taken. Think for a moment about the heart. When the heart begins to lose some of its pumping efficiency, not dramatically, not in a way that sends you to the emergency room, but gradually, silently, in the way that many things change after 70, the body starts to retain fluid during the day. The heart isn't moving blood with the same force it once did, and fluid accumulates in the lower body as a result. Your legs, your ankles, the same pattern we talked about before, but now with a different cause beneath it. And then you lie down, and that fluid moves into circulation, and the kidneys work to eliminate it. And at 2 in the morning you wake up, and at 3:30 you wake up again. The bathroom, in this situation, is not showing you a bladder problem. The bathroom is showing you a cardiovascular signal, one of the earliest, quietest ones the body produces, and one of the most commonly overlooked. This is why I've spent years telling people that the symptom matters less than the pattern, not just how often you wake up, but when it started, whether your legs look different in the evening than they did 2 years ago, whether you've noticed even small changes in your energy, your breathing, your stamina during the day. If you're watching this and something I'm describing feels familiar, I want you to do something simple before you go to bed tonight. Look at your ankles. Press gently on the skin above your ankle bone with one finger for about 5 seconds, then release. Does a small indentation remain? Does the skin feel puffy in a way it didn't used to? This is called pitting edema, and it can be a quiet indicator that fluid management in the body deserves closer attention. This isn't a test that replaces a medical evaluation. It's the kind of small, personal awareness that helps you walk into a conversation with your doctor with something more specific than, "I wake up a lot at night." Now I want to tell you about something that surprises almost everyone I share it with. Most people who snore or who stop breathing briefly during sleep have no idea this is happening. They wake up in the morning feeling unrested, slightly foggy, and assume it's simply the quality of sleep that changes with age. But there is a connection between sleep apnea and nighttime urination that almost nobody talks about. And when I explain the mechanism, it shifts something in how people understand their own nights. Here is what happens inside the body during an apnea episode. The airway partially closes. Breathing stops, briefly, repeatedly. The oxygen level in the blood drops. The heart, sensing this, works harder. It stretches slightly in response to the effort. And when the heart stretches, it releases a hormone called atrial natriuretic peptide, which signals the kidneys to produce more urine. Read that again, slowly. The body is not producing more urine because the bladder is weak. The body is producing more urine because the heart is responding to oxygen loss in the blood. Some people don't wake up because their bladder is full. Their bladder fills because the brain has been repeatedly disturbed by interrupted breathing. The sequence is backwards from what most people assume, and this reversal matters enormously for anyone who has been told their nocturia is simply about aging or prostate health, or how much they drink before bed. This is one of the most important things I can offer you today. If you snore, if you've been told you stop breathing during sleep, if you wake feeling exhausted no matter how many hours you spend in bed, these are not separate stories. They may be chapters of the same one. And here is where I need to speak to you very directly, the way I would speak to a family member sitting in front of me. The reason all of this matters, the fluid redistribution, the cardiovascular signals, the hormonal shifts, the sleep apnea connection, is not just because nighttime urination is inconvenient. It matters because of what happens to a body that is woken repeatedly through the night after night, month after month. Sleep is not passive. It is the most active repair process your body performs. During deep sleep, the brain consolidates memory. Inflammatory markers decrease. Cellular repair accelerates. The cardiovascular system recovers. The immune system strengthens. And when sleep is fragmented, when the cycle is interrupted 2 or 3 or 4 times a night, all of these processes are interrupted with it. This is not abstract. The research on this is clear, and it is sobering. Cognitive decline accelerates in people whose sleep is chronically fragmented. The brain's ability to clear metabolic waste, including proteins associated with Alzheimer's disease, depends on deep, uninterrupted sleep cycles that fragmentation disrupts. Memory falters. Processing slows. The fog that many people attribute to just getting older may in fact be the cumulative result of years of interrupted nights that nobody investigated seriously. And then there's the risk that lives in the physical act of getting up. I want you to imagine the following. and I want you to hold the image carefully. It is 3 in the morning. The room is dark. Your body has been horizontal for several hours. Your blood pressure, which naturally decreases during sleep, is lower than it is during the day. You move quickly, because the urge is urgent, from lying down to standing. The blood pressure needs a moment to compensate. Balance, which becomes more delicate after 70, needs a moment to calibrate. The floor is dark. The path is familiar but not fully visible. Falls during nighttime bathroom trips represent one of the most significant causes of hip fractures in older adults. Hip fractures in this population carry consequences that extend far beyond the bone. Long recovery periods, loss of independence, reduced mobility. In some cases, a permanent change in the quality and trajectory of life. The trip to the bathroom in the middle of the night is never just about the bladder. It is a moment where multiple vulnerabilities, cardiovascular, neurological, hormonal, physical, converge in the dark. There is something else I want to share with you, and it comes from years of watching people dismiss their own symptoms out of a desire not to make too much of small things. You were raised, perhaps, to be practical, to not complain, to manage discomfort quietly. These are qualities that serve people well in many areas of life. But in the area of health, particularly the kind of quiet, slow health changes that arrive after 70, they can work against you. The body is not dramatic. It does not usually announce what is wrong with sudden, obvious symptoms. It whispers first, and it whispers through patterns that are easy to miss if you've already decided in advance that what you're experiencing is just aging. Waking twice a night to urinate could be the midnight drain cycle at work, something manageable and addressable with simple habit changes. It could be the early murmur of cardiovascular strain. It could be metabolic, blood sugar affecting fluid balance in ways that respond well to dietary adjustment. It could be respiratory, a sleep pattern worth evaluating with a simple sleep study. The point is not to frighten you. The point is to offer you what I believe every person over 70 deserves, the information to ask better questions. If you've stayed with me this far, that tells me something. It tells me this isn't just curiosity. Something in what I've described tonight feels real to you. Maybe it's the swelling in the legs. Maybe it's the fog in the morning. Maybe it's the quiet fear that what's happening at night is connected to something larger that nobody has taken seriously yet. That instinct deserves more than a single video. I put together a complete protocol. Structured, practical, built specifically for people navigating sleep, fluid balance, and cardiovascular health after 70. People who were told it was just aging. People who finally got a real answer. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment. And the QR code is on your screen right now. Point your camera at it, and you'll have it in seconds. Do it now, before the moment passes. You can keep watching. But don't let this be another thing you meant to look into, because I want to share something directly with you right now. The protocol I've put together, everything I've learned about sleep, fluid management, cardiovascular health, hormonal balance, and recovery after 70, goes deeper than what a single video can hold. I've organized it into something you can use every day, a structured guide to protecting your nights, reading your body's signals, and understanding what your sleep is really telling you. You'll find the link in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you're watching on your phone or tablet right now, there's a QR code on your screen. Scan it, and you'll get there instantly. The time to look is not later. Later has a way of becoming never. Look at it today. Now I want to give you something practical you can begin with immediately. Because understanding a problem without having something to do about it is not understanding, it's worry. And worry without direction is not what I'm here to offer you. The first thing to observe is your fluid intake in the afternoon and evening. This is not about drinking less water. Hydration is essential, and underdrinking creates its own serious risks. This is about timing, shifting the majority of your fluid intake to the morning and early afternoon, and reducing it gradually in the 3 to 4 hours before bed, allows your kidneys to do most of their work during waking hours. The second thing is elevation. If your legs show any sign of fluid accumulation by evening, fullness, slight swelling, the sock mark we discussed, spending 30 to 45 minutes with your legs elevated before bed can help the body redistribute that fluid before you lie down for the night. The redistribution will still happen, but on a timeline that gives your body a chance to process it before your deepest sleep begins. The third thing is temperature. A slightly cool sleeping environment supports the body's natural temperature drop during sleep and can reduce the number of light sleep periods during which small urges become conscious ones. This is a minor adjustment with a meaningful effect on sleep quality for many people. The fourth thing is attention to what your evenings contain. Alcohol and caffeine, even in amounts that feel modest, both affect the kidney's ability to concentrate urine during sleep. Alcohol, in particular, suppresses vasopressin, the very hormone we discussed earlier. Even a single drink in the evening can measurably increase nighttime urine production in people over 65. And the fifth thing, the most important thing, and the one I want you to hold on to, is this. Please do not go to your next medical appointment and accept "this is just aging" as a complete answer if the frequency is 2 or more times a night, if it's getting worse, if it's accompanied by leg swelling, fatigue, shortness of breath, or any other symptom that feels connected. These are the 5 things I want you to carry with you, not as a checklist, as a way of listening to yourself more carefully. If this video gave you something, if the piece about fluid redistribution, or the heart connection, or what happens during sleep apnea shifted something in how you understand what your body has been doing, then do something with that. Press the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment below telling me how many times a night you wake up. I read them, and those comments shape what we talk about next. Your body has been speaking to you in the small hours of the morning. It's been speaking quietly, patiently, in the language of interrupted sleep and bathroom trips through darkened hallways. The question has never been whether it was saying something. The question is whether you were ready to listen. The people who age well, not perfectly, but well with energy and clarity and independence that lasts, they are not the ones who experience no symptoms. They are the ones who learn to hear what the symptoms are actually saying, early, before the whisper becomes something louder. You are here. You listened. That already puts you ahead of where you were an hour ago. Share this with someone you know who has been waking up in the middle of the night and telling themselves it's just age. The person whose name came to your mind just now. That's the one. Subscribe for what's coming next week, because we're going to continue this conversation about what the body reveals during sleep, and what it's possible to recover when you finally understand what's been happening. You are not too far along to change direction. The body over 70 is not a closed system. It responds. It adapts. It rewards attention with something that no supplement or prescription alone can offer, a night that finally lets you rest.